Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This is the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again with your host Nick Scopes and the Gregolicious. You know how we do, cause you know we keeping it gangster and silly. Unplugged like a full swung titty. Bout get jitty, cause you know we down to the nitty and the gritty. And we make shit sound so damn pretty. Yeah, cause this unhinged comedy. And right now you're in the mix, so get ready, cause we bout to get it poppin'. And we ain't stopping.
Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again. Yeah, we at it again.
Hello and welcome to the Mangina Dialogues. I am your host, Nick Scopes.
And I'm the Gregolicious.
Greg, turn yourself up a little bit. And our guest today is Gianmarco Sorsei. Did I get it right?
Hello. Yeah, I love that song, by the way. You guys warned me I'd have to sit through it. I was jamming.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Too bad we don't have split screen video.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a music video with it.
Oh, sweet.
It has puppets in it. It's ridiculous. Anyway. How are you doing today, my man? What's going on? Where are you at?
I'm good, man. I am in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. First time here. I'm beach been all weekend at the Comedy Cabana. And yeah, just this my first time they got me a condo, a very nice condo. I'm staying with the headliner, Chris Monte. He's a very, very nice guy who's just been drinking whiskey at night and telling comedy stories, and it's been good, man.
So
it's like a vacation.
If you guys are looking for something off the beaten path to do over in Myrtle Beach, I highly recommend this club called Nuttin' But Horseplay.
Oh, yeah?
What the hell is that?
It's a top shelf gentleman's establishment. That is
Nothing but horseplay.
Yes,
I'm looking it up right now. That is.
He's like, I'm outside the building.
I don't know if I'm making enough money on this gig to like support a strip club visit.
Well, I didn't say strip club. I said gentleman's establishment.
I see. Yeah.
And their specialty is I don't know the politically correct way to say this, but pregnant women on stage.
No way.
Oh yeah. That's
Dude,
why
I feel like you just sold him on it.
It's called horseplay.
No.
Just so everyone understands, it's not nothing but, it's nothing, Nuttin, and then but, butt, horseplay. I felt like the nothing was like enough of a graphic word. But nothing but.
That's incredible.
Wait, it's pregnant women? There's got to be a lot of turnarounds. That
high turnover rate.
Just
like, yeah, it's like she's here for 9 months only.
It's a short stint. It's her, what do they call those things? Residencies.
I think it's good to make some money. I know there's some acting agents that specialize in just like pregnant women.
Really?
But never, maybe this is where she's booking them.
Yeah. Well, you can thank me later.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So this trip just got so interesting. How long are you down there for? Whole weekend?
Yeah, I got here Wednesday, and I leave Monday morning. So it's a long one.
I was gonna say
President's Day weekend.
Oh wow! Did you do shows Wednesday and Thursday night?
Yeah. Just one Wednesday, one Thursday. There's 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow, 1 Sunday.
God damn, bro! Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
You guys make the horse around a little bit.
I noticed, I'm not a big online dater, but I'm like, now that I'm doing more weekends, I'm like, all right, I got to try to get back in. I never really did it. I went on like 3 OkCupid dates in my life. That's it. 2013.
7 years ago.
That was the year of OkCupid. In their height.
I've been using Tinder, Bumble. A lot of women with kids here. A lot of women with kids. Former Nothing But Horseplay employees. And incredible though, like how many have kids, and that's the first picture. And it's just like, it doesn't necessarily put you in the mindset for like, oh yeah, a fun hang for one night.
Yeah, I know. They're looking for something serious, dude. Not a comic coming through town.
And that's what you try to put. You put in your bio, like, "Hey, I'm here for 3 days." That's like the most euphemistic way you can be like, "Hey, very casual."
You're never gonna see me again.
Yeah.
My name is John.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But no, I haven't gotten any matches. I got to tell you, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
It might be the 3 days thing that might be throwing girls off.
Maybe.
Like,
It's also, you just see the trends. So many women have these U-shaped piercings in their nose, that goes out like both nostrils.
Yeah, like the Dennis
You know what I
Rodman,
mean?
like Dennis Rodman
Yeah,
back in the day.
yeah, but it's when you look on a dating app, you're like 20% of women have this right now. This is the fad,
Really?
at least in Myrtle Beach. Yeah,
I love that. It's awesome.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Beautiful. So I wanted to, first of all, we had you at our house. We had you at our place in South Norwalk where you fucking leveled the room for about 45 minutes. That was the first time in my life that I was like, man, I wish I didn't play football in high school. I wish I did musical theater instead, because this guy has got it together. You can always sing and dance. We can't play football forever. But how'd you get your start, man? Because I mean, what you did, a lot of people from like work and home came, and they're still talking about you, and they all follow you now on Instagram, and you did such a phenomenal job.
It's very nice. I mean, I always wanted to be like an actor from very young. I was one of those kids that just kind of was like, this is what I'm going to do. And we did it a lot in high school, went to college for musical theater, and I always liked comedy. My mom, I don't know which happened first. My dad took me to Dangerfields once, and it was a raunchy fucking show. Like, some woman, an older woman, talked about like accidentally putting Novocaine in her clit or something, and then someone else like talked about he thought his neighbors were making macaroni, but it was fingering noises, and I was like 12, and so it was like
so you were scarred.
It's at a time when like it was I loved it. I was fucking this doesn't like it was very exciting. It felt cool and dirty, and then I saw Ralphie May with my mom at Caroline. And again, the bit I remember, he had this long bit at some point about different fingering techniques, like a list of 50 different, like looking for change in the phone booth or something. And my mom got me a George Carlin CD. So I always liked comedy, but I wasn't, I was like, with my generation, we were super into Chappelle's Killing Me Softly, Chappelle's show.
Yeah. Dane
Cook was big. I wasn't a Dane Cook super fan, but I liked him. But it was pretty much Chappelle. Chappelle was the end all be all.
Dude,
and I mean, I listened to Killing Him Softly to go to sleep for at least like a year. Like I remember that. I could probably do that whole special. I'd get in trouble for some of the stuff, but
yeah, probably. That's
so
wild.
then I went to college for musical theater, and then one summer I did the Caroline stand-up comedy class. I was in New York for a summer doing an acting program, and it's Linda Smith. She still teaches it, and part of it is just you talk about comedy, but it's also just like, all right, well, at the end of this, you're gonna do 5 minutes, so you're gonna have to fucking come up with something. And did that, went back to college, like did an hour for Friends that probably was really bad in retrospect, but it was like, it was my friends, so murdered. And then I think I was one of these actors that's like, yeah, I'm a stand-up, but I wasn't really a stand-up. I just would do like a bringer show at Caroline's once every 4 months. And when you're performing for a white hot crowd, it's very easy to be delusional about your abilities. And I think I did like 2 open mics at the Creek in the Cave, and I bombed at both. And I was like, oh, I'm better. This is how naive, crazy. You're like, oh, I'm just, my stuff only works when it's like super packed audiences. Like you just come up with some kind of excuse in your head of like, oh, that's why I'm bombing at this mic, because I'm just made for sold out crowds. And didn't do it. I was acting, and then like 4 years ago, I wrote a play with a lot of like storytelling stand up in it, and my friend took me out to like lunch and said like, you need to be doing this. This is the thing. And I'd always considered it, but it's like it's a different life. You know, I was a guy who liked to be home alone. I'm a little bit of a hermit, especially at night, and I had to like sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to give up nights for the rest of my life. Basically, I'm going to go out every night. And once I started getting into it, I was like, I can't just have to do this. The competition is way too steep, and you feel it in New York. You really feel the number of talented people. So I just kind of went balls to the wall, and then at least after 2 years in, I was pretty much every night doing shows.
Wow,
and that's my life now.
How you liking it?
I mean, it's good. It's got highs and lows. Last night was a rough show. The day before was a great show. I felt very differently both nights.
Why was it rough last night? What made it rough?
Last night, well, it was a little lighter. And I also knew coming in, it's Myrtle Beach. I think a lot of people retire here. A lot of people vacation here are older. So sometimes when you look at an audience and 80% is in their 50s or older, there's just some references that don't click. This is one of the crowds, like they didn't really get the sarcasm. Any of my jokes that normally work with, I got a lot of like, oh, like, I'm joking. This is all a joke. Like I've joked about my divorced parents, and sometimes they're just like, oh, and it's tough. And it was also cleaner. It's not squeaky clean, but they certainly don't want vulgar.
Right.
And I'm not a super dirty comic, but I have plenty of dirty stuff. Some people think I'm cleaner than I am. I think because I shave, but it's so weird. I'll do dirty sets. They'll be like, "You're clean. You're super clean." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I did a bit about like coming for 2 minutes from shampoo, and
great bit. Saw it.
yeah.
It was awesome.
But that's like a bit. I got the impression from the kind of rules they laid out, I cannot do here. And so if it's a tough crowd and I have to be clean and I'm doing 30 minutes, like a lot of my super guaranteed heavy hitters are taken out of the mix because they're just a little too dirty. So it wasn't a bomb, but when it's a tough crowd and there's one woman in the front who just kept, I couldn't pause because if I paused, she would shout out a punchline.
Oh man.
It would kill my punchline.
Oh.
So it was a tough one. And then that woman came up after and was like, "You were so great, bought merch." And I was like, what the fuck? I'll never understand this.
Dude, I've heard that from so many. When I listen to comedy podcasts, like top guys, they talk about the same thing. There's people that are interrupting their shows and then come up to them after and they're like, "You were incredible. I'm one of your biggest fans." It's like, well, then what the fuck are you doing? What were you doing?
Yeah. And sometimes it's like with that, like one moment I was talking to that woman, as I had to several times during the show. And we were talking Valentine's Day, stuff about dating, and she said her friend said she was single, and she was like, "No, I'm one and done." And I was like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And she said, I had a husband, but he died." And my impulse, if I had been anywhere else, would have been to have said, "Oh, suicide?" And I was so, and I think I've done it once, but like in that moment, this is my own fault, but like I got in my head because I kept feeling like they like wouldn't like dark stuff, and so I didn't have a good answer. But like I would have loved to have done that, but sometimes you get stuck in your head and you're like, you're only gonna fail. I mean, if I said suicide, what's the worst that would have happened? They'd go, "Oh,
yeah."
Maybe she wouldn't have bought my merch, but that's the thing I think you have to fight sometimes when like it's a tougher crowd. I get in my head. All of a sudden I start judging what material to use. And suddenly I have plenty of material, but you start going like, you go like, well, is that going to work? Or is that going to be too dark? And then you're in your head and it's tough.
Yeah. Also, man, once you leave the Northeast, like you're so used to New York, like it's just different there. I remember doing an internship in college in the University of Missouri, and sarcasm just flew right over their heads. They had no fucking idea what anything I was saying. Even just like in conversation, they were like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "No, I'm kidding."
You should see what flies over their heads at nothing but horseplay.
Oh God.
Yeah. But that's why it's always cool to see the headliner Chris Monti. He's been doing comedy probably 20 years or something, and you see these headliners who just know how to navigate any room. Or we were talking last night, and like I have some little jokes that I consider them to be smarter, or you could just say they're more subtle in where the punchline is, and they can kill. And if they don't, sometimes I have to use that as a ruler and be like, oh, okay, my audience right now, they need heavier hits. Yeah. And so he was talking about, you get really good at being like, all right, I know what bits are not going to work here.
Right.
And that just comes out of fucking years and years. And it's all a good experience. I mean, it's good. This is kind of, I think the next phase is me doing these weekends at different places and learning this kind of stuff. And then you got to like kind of balance making sure you kill with not giving into hacky impulses, because you can kill with hack stuff sometimes. So it's like keeping your integrity as a comic while also adjusting to the people in the room, because they're the ones that are there.
Right. What else are you doing besides stand-up? Are you still doing any acting, any theater stuff, anything like that?
Yeah, the theater's pretty much done. I did a play the summer of 2018 that I wrote for a month, and it was just torture not being able to do stand-up. I would do the 11:45 show at LOL, and it killed me. I was so tired. But the theater is on hold. So I do TV and film when they'll have me. I did this Billy Crystal movie last year called Here Today that I think will come out this year. It's Tiffany Haddish is in it, so I imagine we'll try to capitalize on her sooner than later. I had a line in Hustlers.
What was your line in Hustlers?
Stuff. J-Lo is trying to ply me with liquor, and I say, I think I said like, oh, I want to, but I have an early morning, and I leave. I leave J-Lo.
You
and
idiot.
Two other women. I know.
Wait, so you
So how many takes did you do of that line? And did you ask for more?
It was pretty quick. Yeah, it was 1 a.m. Everyone was clearly very tired. And like, especially this is one of these montages where these poor women had to change for every take. So they probably, in their 20th outfit of the day. 1 a.m, J-Lo comes on. I with someone of that level, like I wait to be spoken to. So it's very surreal. J-Lo is like standing right next to me. And then after 30 minutes, she's like, "Hi, I'm Jennifer," and you try to be cool. You're like, "Oh, Jennifer, is that it? Yes, hello." I'm Gianmarco.
I didn't know that that's what you went by.
And you did like 6 takes. It was so fast. It was one of these where like no one was saying like, "Great, that was good," and you're like, I was dying for the director to just be like, "Great, that was very funny," but nothing. So you're just like, "Oh God, I don't know if I'm doing well. I don't know if we're moving on because I suck," and they cut it.
Was it one of those scenes that was in the hotel bars where they were getting guys drugged out and stuff? Yeah,
I'm basically right. I'm part of the montage that makes them decide they need to start drugging guys.
Got it.
Because there's too many nerdy guys like me saying they have early morning.
I just saw it on a plane, so I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, everyone's been seeing it on a plane.
Yeah.
And then yesterday on my train Wednesday, my plane to Myrtle Beach, a woman next to me watched it, and I couldn't resist. When my team came up to be like, "Hi." It's maybe the grossest thing I've ever done in my life.
She's like, what? What do you want?
If you would have like reached over and just pressed pause and been like, "That's me."
What'd she say? What'd she say? That's so cool,
She's
though.
just trying to get to a bingo game.
She was very nice, and she might come to one of the shows. So I gave her my card. You know, I've
dirty dog.
definitely I've got a little better at fitness today. You know, I talked to someone at the front desk and an Uber driver, and I tell him about the show. You know, so I don't have a repeat of fucking last night. 15 people. This is on me too.
Yeah. God damn, dude. So my only question right now is, how hot is J-Lo in person?
She's pretty stunning, and she just has that air of just a star.
Yeah.
Just like a presence. I mean, she just seems like a force.
You should have called her A-Rod.
Yeah, that would have gone well. You know, I've only had a couple with. I don't think I've ever acted with anyone as big as J-Lo, but you know, you just got to figure out. I did a woman with. If you heard of, you know who Carmelo Anthony is, right?
Of course.
Basketball player.
Of course, yeah.
So he is married to Lala Anthony.
Yeah.
You know Lala?
Yeah, from MTV.
Yeah, so I did. Yeah, so I didn't know who she was at all. I did this TV show. I did a guest star, and honestly, for all I knew, she was just a regular actor who got a nice break as a regular on the show. And at some point, I was like, "Hey, can I borrow your iPhone charger?" She's like, "Sure." And she let me borrow it. And then we're all talking, and she's like, and not bragging, she was like, "Oh yeah, last night I was doing karaoke, and Drake went up and he started singing this Taylor Swift song." And I was like, "Oh, Drake went up?" And I like went to the bathroom and I Googled her name, and I was like, "Oh fuck, this is a big name." And I would have never in a million years have asked to borrow her iPhone charger had I known she was, because I just don't, you know, they're dealing with enough shit. I'm just supposed to be pleasant, and thankfully she was really nice. But you know, you wouldn't ask J-Lo, "Can I borrow your?"
She probably doesn't even know where her iPhone charger is. She has people doing that. Like, there's no. Dude, that's hilarious. That was kind of cool that Lala was like, "Yeah, sure."
I would have just asked what karaoke bar she went to.
Yeah.
Where Drake's hanging out.
She was super nice, and the real way of Drake's name being said in a way that was like my friend Mike. It was just surreal, and that's how popular she is. That Drake is just a pal. You do karaoke with, and you complain about Drake's a friend. You complain about the stranger.
What do you call it? I forget, what TV show was it?
It was a show called Unforgettable. It was, I believe, CBS got canceled, got brought back, and then moved to A&E, and then it died.
I don't remember ever seeing it.
Yeah, it was. It was just like a cop who had perfect memory.
I was joking. Actually, I know what it is.
You know the show?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And those kinds of shows, they do really well. Even if they're don't do great here, they do. If you go look up Germany's top 10 watched U.S. TV shows, it's like CSI, Law and Order SVU, CSI. It's all the kind of paint by numbers top shows.
What about the NCIS with LL Cool J? How do you think that ranks?
I'm sure it's
top 5.
They must love him over there. About Baywatch is still up there, I'm sure. David Hasselhoff. It's the only thing they watch.
Yep.
It's huge in Belgium.
So now so you're doing stand-up, you do some acting. Is there any route you want to focus on more? Or are you kind of just like, hey, I'm enjoying this, I'm just going to keep going, see what happens?
You know, I mean, like a lot of comics, I always talk about writing TV or a movie. It's been hard. My focus has really been singularly on stand-up. And I end up kind of working on that so much during the day, just kind of writing, that I haven't figured out a way to carve the kind of time I need. If I'm going to write TV shows, I need to get back into reading scripts every day. So I think I want to do that, but there's another part of me that's like, I just want to murder at stand-up and
Yeah.
and that like, should I ever get a late night special or, some kind of hour or 30-minute special, then I can start going, all right, cool. This is on track. I can start taking more time to do these other things. But I think right now I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be an expert in one thing. And that might take me being crazy about it for a couple of years.
How much time do you spend writing, like every day?
It's kind of fluid. I kind of just always work on it. Especially trips like these, I really get to sit down and take 2 or 3 hours. But I do it. I listened last night. I listened back to my set. I always listen back to my set, and I was polishing off notes from 12 to 1. And now it's a mix. Now I try to spend like 30 minutes, as embarrassing as it might be, working on potential tweets, and kind of building in some time for the social media stuff. And then there's like trying to design merch, because merch is a big part of surviving these road gigs that just don't pay very much at all.
Right.
Like this gig, I don't care saying it's 7 shows, Wednesday through Sunday. It's $550 minus the $55 commission I have to pay, minus the flight here and back. I'm walking away with $250,
For 5 days.
And so it's like, yeah, for 5 days. And so I got to figure out merch, because that's how people supplement their income, just to make it decent.
What merch, what are you selling merch wise? Like,
I'm working on I've been kind of doing a lot of A/B testing. So right now, like with me, I have these koozies, these bands, and these pins. But I think what I'm gravitating towards, I'm gonna do stickers that are pay what you can, and most people just give $5 as like a minimum. But the stickers, even if they give $1, that's fine. Easy to travel with. I have this bit that ends with me talking about having only one hand towel, and it's the final punchline is moist or crunchy. So I have these hand towels that say moist or crunchy.
I almost bought one of those, by the way, after the show.
Yeah.
I love
almost
this.
asshole.
Well, I had to go out that night. I don't want to carry a towel with me.
God forbid you carry a fucking towel with you. It says moist or crunchy. It's a fucking conversation starter.
That's true. That's true. Why are you yelling?
Problem is,
I don't know, because I want a towel.
I can't do that bit here.
Right.
So it's like, oh shit, do I have to come up with a more generic? And occasionally I have this merch based on a bit, and I forget to do the bit, and then that's a real tough sell to explain the joke to them while they buy a koozie. So I'm figuring out. I'm hoping the towels and the stickers, and maybe I'll do a clean version of the koozie that says I'm the main character or something. That's based off another joke. So we'll see. But that's my focus.
So can I ask you a couple questions about your social media?
Sure.
So first of all, thank you very much for all the nice things you said about the club after your show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to get to is, after you did all that, literally it must have blown up our social media, because immediately after, and for a couple days, we got not tons, but probably 50 followers and different people following, just because of what you obviously said. So I'm sure it was
a lot of comics being like, oh fuck.
Oh yeah, no, for sure it was a lot of comics, and then it got a bunch of people reached out, and so I tried to slowly get back to all of them. But that's tremendous. Do you see that you have that kind of interaction with people that follow you? Because a lot of people, obviously you're trying to pump out stuff to go viral or people to bring awareness, but do you see regular engagement like that with people that are on your social media handles?
Not super much. I have a couple fan people who always write something based on a story or whatnot, but it's still growing. I think you really hit that point once you hit 50,000 followers or and that's just what I just keep trying to put out at least one good thing a day on each platform and do it gradual growth. But it's tough because really you either have to be a savant and be pumping out 5 fucking amazing tweets a day, or you have to have a podcast, which is always on that, like, do I have a podcast idea that I want to pursue? Or you book a big TV thing and all of a sudden you have 50,000 followers. So I don't really feel like I have much power yet. But it's been slowly growing, and I hope so I can, when people book me in fucking Myrtle Beach next time, they'll want me to headline because I can sell, I don't know, 20 extra tickets per show. That's the goal.
Are you partial to any one platform like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or are you just all over, like, use them all the same?
I think Twitter's the most impressive, like in terms of people who I think are great at Twitter. It's amazing people who are great at Twitter but suck at stand-up. But
it happens.
Name names. Name names.
Hey, there's people that are great at social media. Then you talk to them in person. It's like talking to a fucking wall. They're not too social.
Why are you looking at me?
You're the only other person in this room. What are you talking about?
But I think like that's more in line with what we do. Not all my stand-up jokes work in Twitter form, but like most great tweets, half of them can be turned into some form of stand-up. It's amazing. There's some incredible, like Rachel McCartney on Twitter. It's just like fucking amazing. There's so many. So Twitter's what I'm most impressed by, but it also is what stresses me out the most.
Yeah.
Because, you can just have fucking, especially before you have 100,000 followers, you can put out some shit that bombs, 0 likes, and you're like, this is crazy. 0? 0.
Is this tweet out there? What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's like
man.
Nick's tweets.
I actually don't even.
Instagram stories have the least pressure, so I like that.
Yeah,
like,
right.
for like what I wrote about you guys, it was like, I don't have to make everything fucking crazy tight. I can like just do kind of, it's a little bit of a narrative and pictures to help people get through it. So that I think is the most easygoing fun. And I don't know if something bombs, because people just watch it.
How much has your musical theater background helped you in stand-up, do you think? Or is it two completely different things?
I mean, I think a lot of it's just like, I came to stand-up knowing how to be on a stage, and so my ability to kind of overcome that nervousness or play around with stuff, that I was advanced in that way. I think it was also tough in the beginning, and even now occasionally, where it's like, because I know how to perform, it's very easy, especially in the beginning, to like overdo it or come off as cheesy or fake, because a lot of comics, especially those that have no performance background, what you're seeing is really kind of their raw voice because they have no other voice to play with. Right. I could I could act out certain things in a way that if it wasn't in line with the room, it would feel wrong. So I had to kind of find that balance of like not making a stand-up. And there's one club in New York, they didn't pass me because they said I was too one-man show. So, it has its downsides.
Isn't that what stand-up is? Like,
what are you going to do?
I'm confused. Man, it's like a one-man show up there. It's like, do you want more than one person up there? Or?
What he's not saying is that's at the multiple personalities club.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, it's just, you see... I was listening to a podcast recently of some comedians. They were talking about how, like, when you see a comic first starting and, like, maybe they've only done stand-up, they're just learning. You're watching them learn stage presence. Like, they're not...
Sure.
They're just learning how to be on a stage and how to, be confident and all that shit. But you see, like... I mean, the biggest example is, like, Chris D'Elia. I mean, musical theater background from high school all the way up. And... he's unreal. Like, he's just one of the funniest guys out there right now. So
yeah. And I think it's that's what I've been like experimenting with, being freer with the space. And there's always a couple comedians that I feel like I borrowed things from, or I've been playing a lot more with giving the illusion of it being casual, just by like, if I want to fucking look at the ground for a bit, I'll let myself do that. It's kind of like finding a comfort to just follow your impulses and just feeling that looseness up there. It makes it more fun, you know. I think about Robin Williams all the time. I'm not like a Robin Williams type, but you know, he would just see the space and like figure out things to do with it, places to go, where to sit, where to move, and it makes it a lot more exciting, especially when you. Right now, when I'm doing gigs like this, I can't do a lot of new material. I'm featuring. I need to be good. I want to be brought back. And if I can't do a lot of new stuff, I at least can try to be new with kind of, what's this space? What can I do? How can I play? How can I mix these bits up? And that's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Who are some of your like influences, comedic influences?
Dave Chappelle.
I definitely Dave Chappelle and Dane Cook, because those were just the two that I was introduced to stand up with. Like they're ingrained in me.
Quite the different comedian styles.
Yeah. I kind of fell in love with Anthony Jeselnik's style, which originally was very different from my own. But then, like, I kind of play with. I have some very kind of this long setup with one big punch, and I can't listen to him or John Mulaney too often because my voice and my tone will gravitate towards them.
Right.
So Mulaney and Jeselnik are kind of my two favorites. If I listen to anybody for too long, I pick up little things from them here and there. And I just try to keep what works and yeah.
Jeselnik, I find, is so interesting. Like, I did not. I just like learned about him like maybe last year, and I watched his new special, and I'm like, this is so different than anything.
Have you
else.
watched Thoughts and Prayers?
No.
Thoughts and Prayers to me is one of the top 10 stand-up specials
ever
made. Yeah. I mean, his first two albums probably have some of the best jokes ever, but Thoughts and Prayers is like fucking brilliant. And I didn't like him when I first got into stand-up. I mean, I liked him, but I was like, it's just all the same tone. But the further I get into stand-up, the less I'm impressed by charisma or personality. Probably because I just see it so much. But like Jeselnik's jokes, you're just like, ooh, that is a gem. That is a beautiful mathematical formula.
You know, it's funny. I saw him in LA a couple weeks ago. And
at the store?
Yes. And
yeah.
He literally, I mean, and I'm not, up until that night, I was not a fan. I am now, mainly. He comes up with like 4 pieces of loose leaf paper. And he was actually standing right next to me for the entire show, before he went up. And he was scribbling on paper just by where the girl, like where you come into the main room. The original room. And he was just standing there. I happened to be sitting there, and I'm watching him scribble on paper for like 45 minutes before he goes up on stage. And I'm like, he must be writing a love letter to his friend or something. He comes up on stage and did all his jokes off of those pieces of paper. So it was obviously all material he had written that day and 10 minutes before. And just watching him work through that was fucking impressive. Like, these brand new jokes, he was trying them all out. It was crazy, obviously in his voice and in what you expect him to do, but it was wild. And some of it totally fucking bombed. And he was like, all right, that didn't work. He's like scrapping that one.
Yeah.
But it was really great to watch like his mind work through all that shit.
I actually saw him at the store 2 months ago, and it was my first time seeing him. And when there's comedians you love, I mean, I almost missed a spot because I was like, I have to see him do that. He didn't have a notepad. I would have loved it if he did. But like this, I think there's nothing more exciting than a comedian you like love to see them do that.
Yeah.
And part of it takes the magic away because you see them eat shit sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's just a reminder of just like, oh yeah, we all have bad ideas.
Yeah. No, I thought it was awesome because I'm in LA a lot, so I'm at the store usually once a month for few shows, and I see a lot of the guys rather regularly, the Rogans and who you see there every night of the week for the most part. And this last time I was there, I went 2 or 3 nights in a row and wrote a few. I'll not name them, but their material every night was the same. So if I saw them on Monday, it was the same material I saw on Tuesday, which was virtually the same I saw on Wednesday. So, but I kind of expect that, in that week. But to see guys come out and really work out new material in front of audiences that are expecting them to blow them away on a nightly basis, even if it's for 15 minutes, is pretty fucking ballsy, right? To really come out there with pages that they're reading from, or on the bar stool looking at notes, when it's not polished, is pretty awesome to see that in action.
Totally.
It's kind of like when I see Scopes 4 nights a week. It's very reminiscent of Jesselnick's set with the 4 pieces of loose leaf paper.
I don't write shit on loose leaf paper because my handwriting's the worst. It's all digital.
It's all typed out on his iPad.
Yeah, it's all typed out and then just bullet points, or else I get too caught up in words and I have trouble reading. So, He's like, oh boy. So we're coming to the end here. Is there anything you'd like to? When's this going to come out, Greg? Do you know?
2020.
What an idiot. Yeah, probably in the next few weeks. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Anything? You have a website, merch, Twitter, anything like that?
Yeah, just find me on Twitter, Instagram. I post everything. It's my name. You'll see it in the show, but it's GIANMARCOSORESI, Gianmarco Sorsei. And shout out to fucking your guys' club. It was great. It was fucking so good. I mean, that's the kind of room. And I was doing most of my A material because it was so good. It was like, just sometimes you're like, let me just feel good for an hour.
Dude,
I don't need to.
It was great. It was great. One of my favorite jokes, I won't give it away, was one of the when you talked about Barbra Streisand. And
thank you. That's the one that
makes me
will
laugh.
not play here in Myrtle Beach. It was good to do it there.
You can't do that one there? That's not even that bad, though. Oh, man.
It's not even that. Yeah. It's also like Barbra Streisand, like, I just know it wouldn't work.
Yeah. They'd be like, "Oh, okay." It's the South.
Actually, there's another. I used to go to Myrtle like every year with my buddies, and there's a club there on Saturday night that does amateur nights. Oh yeah. So you'll get the nuttin' but horseplay experience in a true amateur environment.
And most of the comics are pregnant women.
They're not more like college students that should keep their J. Crew sweater on.
Sure.
What the hell's the name of that place? Anyway, the Google will tell you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Gianmarco, thank you so much, man. We cannot wait to have you back at the club.
For sure.
And
anytime.
I'm buying 3 towels.
And same.
I
want the crunchy ones.
I promise. It's on recording. I'm buying fucking towels, bro, and I'm keeping them at the gym. I'm going to use them.
Right, thanks, brothers. I appreciate you. Take care. I'll see you soon.
Good luck tonight.
Have a good time.
Thank you. Peace.